What's going on, y'all? It's your boy GP, and you're rocking with me on the AquaMethodPodcast. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter, GrasshopperGP, Instagram, GrasshopperGP, both of which spell normally no special characters, numbers, emojis, underscores, anything crazy like that is GrasshopperGP, Instagram, and Twitter. Send me an email at GrasshopperGP@yahoo.com for the types of sponsorships, advertisements, questions, comments, all that good stuff. GrasshopperGP@yahoo.com is the place to do it. You are listening to this on GrasshopperGP Official. That's Grasshopper with 3 S's because when I made the account, I couldn't spell. GrasshopperGP Official with 3 S's is the YouTube account. Thank y'all for once again rocking with your boy on the AquaMethodPodcast episode 99. And I'm joined by my good friend from the TV station, Steven. What's going on, Steve?
Hey, Glenn, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, man. I'm glad to have you. And you said that you're driving, so I'm getting you at a bad time, but I appreciate you being on the show.
Oh, we're good, man. We are good.
So how's Kansas City treating you?
Man, Kansas City's good. We're entering the dog days of summer, not with the humidity that Louisiana gets, but it's hot. But we got the Royals going on, so there's lots of things happening, lots of festivals happening up here, and just things to do. So it's a good time up here.
Have you adopted the Royals as your team now, or what?
I have. I'm all in on the Royals. The saying this year is raised royal. So with my brand new baby, that's what we're doing. We are raised royal.
All right, well that's cool, man. That's all right. So how you feel about the NBA Finals, man?
Oh man, it's been something we've all been waiting for because we all know the playoffs up to this point haven't been the greatest. A lot of blowouts. The Cavs and the Warriors basically taking care of business. 12-1 combined, or 24-1 combined headed into the finals. And it's not a lot of close games to really pique your interest, especially when everybody predicted who'd be making the finals with the Warriors and the Cavs. So I'm excited that we were finally here. Game one, it was, basically a whole lot of what I thought it would be. Sloppy early, and then when you get the Warriors at home in that environment, Steph's going off, KD, he's back in the finals for the first time in a long time, ready to go. It kind of came down how I expected to, with the Warriors coming away with a big victory.
Yeah, it did seem like both teams were really nervous at first. Like everybody was just like they had too much energy and didn't know what to do with it, and they kept making a lot of mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Warriors, I think they had 15 shots in the paint that they missed. Those are point blank misses plus a few jumpers, and they hit half of those, and next thing you know, it's a 30-point game. And at the other end, the Cavaliers. Turnovers. I think LeBron had 7 or 8 turnovers, which is very unlike him. So, it was just that game one jitters that they had to get out, and, they had to feel each other out for that first quarter and a half, and, the Warriors were just able to figure out a whole lot faster.
So, what you got? How you feel the series going to go?
I picked the Warriors in 6.
Oh, wow. I got the Warriors in 5.
In 5. I wanted to say 5 earlier on, but, when you have the best player, arguably, to ever walk the planet on the other team,
yep.
He's going to will them to a couple victories.
Yeah, see, I like people are saying sweep. I'm not thinking sweep. I'm not seeing a sweep.
No, it would be cool to see a sweep, to see a team go 16-0 in the playoffs the year after they set the wins record at 73.
Yeah,
that's all-time stuff right there.
Yeah, I don't see it, man. I think it's gonna be 2-0 going to Cleveland, and when they get to Cleveland, they gotta play LeBron in his house, and I don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna rally. I don't think they're gonna blow them out. I think it's gonna be a close game in Cleveland, but LeBron can count for one game, I think.
Yeah, at the very least one game. But when his role players don't show up like in game one, then it's gonna be a very quick series. Because that's the thing about the Warriors, man. People talk numbers, and Klay Thompson went like 3 for 16 or so.
Yeah.
But they forget that on the defensive end, he was leading the charge as far as holding people down from getting open buckets, helping them miss shots, starting the transition. So if Klay's not going off, KD and Steph do. If Draymond's off, you still got KD and Steph. And if KD and Steph might have a bad night, well, then that's probably going to be the night where Klay Thompson comes in and he hits 7 or 8 3-pointers.
Yeah, man. You gotta pick your poison. With that team, man, you gotta hope you can't contain them all. You gotta hope to eliminate as much as you can.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so do you feel like? So you say you wanted a sweep on the Warriors side. You think that'd be bad for the league or what?
I don't think it'll be bad for the league. I would like some more competitive teams, to be out there playing and, at the very least challenging them. But in the end, I mean, I didn't see the numbers of Game 1 viewership, but I'm sure, I don't think it's bad for the league at all. I mean, people want to talk that it is bad. Sure, there's, who's going to make the finals, but at the same time, the games in the finals are going to be really good because you still have, I don't want to call it David versus Goliath, but you have teams trading championships right now. Warriors 2 years ago, Cavs this year, or Cavs last year, and who knows this year. And I'd put money on it that there's probably going to be these two teams next year, depending on what Klay Thompson decides to do when his contract's up.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad for the league either. I could see like growing apathy in other markets because they feel like, well, we're not gonna be in it anyway, so why even get the season tickets?
Well, yeah, from a fan perspective, that's exactly right. Smaller markets like the Minnesotas of the world and the Sacramentos of the world, even New Orleans, markets like that. I mean, you have a great point. Why should I care when I know my team is going to be, 45 wins and a first round playoff exit?
Yeah, man. It's gonna be rough, man. But I mean, I like it. I think it's cool because it's like you still have your own team, you still have your own pockets of fandom. Like you said in Milwaukee and in New Orleans and New York and in Los Angeles and stuff like that. But now you can separate the whole country in half, like Warriors and Cavaliers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's cool to have something like that. But I mean, it's not going to last forever.
No.
I mean, Steph Curry, he's a smaller guy. His body's not going to hold up as long. LeBron James is 32, 33 years old, whatever it might be. He's got another 5, 6, 7 years left, and at the same time, eventually people want to get paid, and you only have so much time in this league to, make that money, even though a lot of these guys make their money off of endorsements now. But, eventually things will separate and people start to free themselves up from those teams and, explore new options.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing things like, win or lose, they might be getting rid of Klay Thompson or something. I'm like, it seems like that's like speculation. I don't think there's any hard evidence or anything like that. But he'd be the first to go, But I like the core of the team, so I hope that he don't go.
Yeah, and it's gonna be up to him, whether he wants to stay and compete for titles or, say he wants to go up to Portland or something like that, and try to do it with a different team. You just kind of have to wait and see about that. But in the end, the Lakers, they'll gear back up. Chris Paul, he's looking at the Spurs reportedly.
Yeah.
There's just storylines that will, rejuvenate other parts of the league. Not everybody's going to be viable, obviously, because, I mean, you can't have 29 or however many teams it is, great teams. That just doesn't make any sense. So, it'll be cyclical. These two teams will run their course, and then there'll be another couple of teams that make their run, and then we just kind of go from there.
Now, early in the season, LeBron James was like, he didn't consider the Cavaliers and Warriors a rivalry, and Draymond said we're absolutely a rivalry and stuff like that. So, what you think? I mean, it's only been 3 series, but I think it's a rivalry now, man.
Yeah, and I think it's more of a Draymond-LeBron rivalry more so than a team versus team rivalry.
Really?
Playing in opposite conferences, they only play each other twice during the regular season, so it's one of those things you have to wait an entire year to get. And even then, this is the first time in NBA history the same two teams have played in 3 straight finals, so it's unprecedented. But it's the two teams that people want to watch, and until I don't know what would have to happen for me to make me believe it's a real rivalry. But I think it's more just two great teams on opposite sides. I mean, they don't really get chippy and fight and all that stuff. I mean, Draymond has his run-ins, but that's Draymond, and he's a hothead. But that's just the way he plays. So I think it's more of a personal rivalry more so than a team versus team rivalry.
I don't know, man. I think it's a team versus team rivalry, man. Like it's a little too much to say, Lakers, Celtics, because they didn't play each other that much either during the regular season, right? Because they're in 2 different conferences.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, but they met in the finals a lot more though.
They did, but they never did 3 times in a row.
True.
That's
true.
They never did 3 times in a row, but it might be just a result of LeBron being on the other side, because like they was talking about a rival, like a Spurs Heat rivalry back in the day when he was with them.
Mm-hmm.
The rumblings of that, because they had met twice in a row and they had traded championships and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just think there needs to be some kind of team versus team
Like a brawl?
incident or offense. I don't know about a brawl, but there's been really no trash talk between the teams. It's always been very cordial between Steph and LeBron. I mean, sure, LeBron had that block on Steph and stared him down in last year's finals, but besides that, you don't hear them chirping about each other. You don't hear them talking about each other. You don't hear them, doing much of any of that stuff. So is there the makings of it? I think so, but I don't think there's been that one moment just yet where it's like, oh, these are rivals. It's everybody like against the bad boys of the Detroit Pistons back in the 80s and so on and so forth.
Yeah, man. Like, all right, Steve, me and you gonna have to agree to disagree on that one. I think it's a full-on rivalry, but we'll have to disagree on another thing because you said it's between if it is a rivalry, it's between LeBron and Draymond. I don't know, man. I think it's between the two stars, man. I think it's between it could be between LeBron and Kevin Durant or LeBron and Steph.
Mm-hmm. And I get what you're saying, but Steph doesn't guard LeBron. They play two different positions.
Yeah.
KD, he'll guard him off and on, but usually, with Klay Thompson rolling over to guard LeBron, and Draymond, picking him up in the post and things like that if he's not guarding Tristan Thompson. Nah. So I just think the way they match up is a little bit different.
Yeah, see, you talking about that. You talking about the X's and O's, man. I'm talking about when they put that big old expensive graphic, the marquees, man. It's gonna be LeBron and Steph.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if they were to make a movie, a poster, it's gonna be LeBron and Steph.
You are absolutely right. It won't be LeBron and Steph out there, up there on that marquee. And they'll bill it as it's them versus them. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yep.
They will bill it. But, how many times are they actually going to act when it comes down to it? That's the real question.
Yeah, good point. So, but yeah, like, so we got hyped up for the first game, but it was a blowout. Did you feel like you was let down by it? Because, I was still excited about it, even though it was a blowout, man. My interest started to wane in the fourth quarter, but that's natural when there's that big of a gap.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a letdown of a game, especially since last year was a 15-point blowout and Game 2 was a 30-point blowout. But I think it was just the Warriors putting on what they do best, and that's what people want to see. They want to see those moments where it's Steph lighting it up from 35 feet away. It's KD coming on the lane and getting a free run for a dunk. It's Draymond with the block at one end, starting the break and throwing it ahead to Klay Thompson for a touch pass to the opposite side for a three-pointer. It's those moments that you look for, and then you just want to see how Cleveland responds to that. And I think they will respond. It may not be an in-game response. It might have to wait to get back to Cleveland. But I think it's those moments that we look for, and I think what people want to see is how efficient these Warriors can actually play. What can they do to wow us this time? And they always come up with something. Yeah.
Now, if we go back a little bit, do you think the incident Zaza Pachulia had with Kawhi was intentional? And do you think it turns if the Warriors win, is it like a false win because they didn't have to beat the Spurs at full strength or what?
No, injuries happen. It's part of the game.
Right.
2 years ago.
That's what I feel too.
Kyrie got hurt. In the finals, or right before the finals. I think it was a wrist or something. And Kevin Love wasn't 100%, but we don't talk about that first Warriors championship as being diluted or anything. And as far as Zaza, I don't think that was a dirty play at all. He wasn't looking at his feet. Maybe he shuffled his feet a little bit, but you can probably go to the league and find hundreds and thousands of other instances where guys took the same amount of steps to close out on the shooter. And even then, growing up and playing basketball, one of the things coaches would tell you is, like, if a shot goes up, the first person you need to block out is the shooter, because the shooter's the only one who knows where that ball's going. So I wouldn't call it dirty. Some people might call it dirty. It's the Spurs were at that point grabbing and grasping for reasons, and trying to get some refs on their side to get a couple calls, and in the end, that didn't matter one bit.
Yeah, I don't think it was intentional either. I just think that he's a giant man with giant feet, and I feel like even though he's a professional athlete, I feel like it's probably difficult to coordinate all that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't think it tarnishes the legacy of the Warriors championship should they win either. I mean, like you said, you play who's in front of you, and that's what it is. You know, I don't think there's no sort of a hitman type of mentality with any of those guys.
No, no, absolutely no, no dirty play in my opinion. And he was making a basketball play, and it was bad luck for Kawhi. And he'd already had a weak ankle because he had rolled it just before that. So I mean, you're talking they'd probably just finish his ankle off in a way that nobody wanted to see. Because I think Kawhi's a top 5, top 7 player in this league right now, and you wanted to see him really compete against those guys.
Yeah, I feel like if there's anybody that can beat out the Warriors, it'd be the Spurs.
Yeah,
You know,
and we all say that, then we watch them sweep them in 4 games.
right, right. There's like this opinion going around that LeBron James might be underrated still after all he's done and after everything he's accomplished. What you think? I don't think LeBron James. I think people don't want to give him the credit. You know, that's how I feel
Yeah,
about it.
I think a lot of people are still bitter about the way he handled things the first time. And I think a lot of the people who enjoy the NBA now, people our age, a little bit older than us, we got to see Michael Jordan win his last 3 titles and watch it happen and remember it, And even people a little bit older than that saw Jordan win 6 titles when they were in their prime of watching NBA basketball. So I think those people want to hold on to Michael Jordan, his airness, the greatest to ever play, still want him to be the greatest who ever played. And they have a hard time accepting that there's somebody else who is a little better, somebody who is a better athlete, somebody who could play 5 positions on the court, probably a better defender, somebody who's in the community done a lot of really good things. Somebody who's never been in trouble,
Yeah,
never had behind the scenes
that's true.
things happen, and it's hard to give something up like that that's held on to for what? Let's see, we'll call it 1996, 7, 8. We'll call it 1998. That's 20 years of Michael Jordan plus the 18 years of his career before that, or probably 14 years of his career before that. And I think it's just hard to let go of that. And I think that's what a lot of people have a hard time doing.
Yeah, man. I feel like people in Cleveland especially need to appreciate him because I think I would like to know a statistic as far as how much does LeBron James actually affect the economy. Like if there was like a pie chart, how much of it can be attributed to LeBron James directly?
Oh, can't give you a pie chart, but I can give you a partial scene setter. I went to Ball State University. It's in the MAC conference, and I was a cheerleader there, so I got to go to the MAC basketball conference every year, and it was always in Cleveland, Ohio. So from 2006, that February for the following 7 years, I always spend a week in Cleveland, Ohio for the MAC basketball tournament. And each and every year, that downtown area, there'd be a few more restaurants, a few more bars, a few more restaurants, a few more bars. And then I go back a couple of years ago to watch my best friend play arena football in the championship game there. And this whole area has just been totally revitalized. Because now you got LeBron James there playing 41 games a year. People are going to go out. They're going to have drinks and dinner before the game. They're going to stick around and have drinks and dinner and snacks after the game. They're going to stay out late at night. They're going to watch all these playoff runs and title runs. And I wish I had a number on how many restaurants and bars and things like that have popped up since LeBron James came back to Cleveland and really brought people in Cleveland something to watch, something to root for, something to cheer for, something to get behind. And it's just been kind of incredible to see it grow right before my eyes.
Yeah, man. It's like they got that championship and now everybody's feeling all good and stuff. But I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I would have to look myself in the mirror if I'm, burning jerseys and stuff like that. Now I'm happy that he's back. I feel disingenuous.
Yeah, that's a little much. Nobody needs their jersey burned.
Right. That's silly, man. And you pay for that.
Yeah, I mean, you spend 70, 80, 120 bucks on a jersey, you're just gonna burn it. I can understand folding it, putting it away, or giving it to Goodwill, but
Yeah.
fandom. A fan is just a shortened word of fandom and fanatic.
Right.
And that's what a fanatic is.
Yeah, man, that's something else. But check this out. So you spending time. I mean, you living in Kansas City now, and the football season is coming up. So when the Colts come to play the Chiefs, what's going to be the environment like in the household?
Oh gosh, well first we have to hope that happens in the playoffs. But me, I'll be wearing all my blue, and I'll be cheering my head off for the Colts, and that is that. Chiefs fans get loud and crazy, man.
So what about Lil Man? He gonna be putting blue on or red?
Oh, he's been brainwashed as we speak. He's a Colts fan.
All right.
He doesn't know it yet, but he's a Colts fan.
I mean, you gotta teach him early.
Yes, you do. Sure, but Glenn, I hate to cut you off, and I gotta let you go right now. Wife and I are going on this walk and enjoying a new experience out here in Kansas City. But as always, you need a guest, you know who to call.
Hey, man, I really appreciate the time. Thanks, Steve. And tell your wife, thank you so much for letting me take you away from for a little bit.
I'll be sure to let her know. You have a good one, bro, okay?
All right, man. You have a good one.
All right, we'll see you.
All right, y'all. And that was Stephen Albritton, and I appreciate his time helping me out, knock out this show real quick. And, man, Stephen's a good dude, man. I really appreciate it because, like, I'm doing this last second again. But he helped me out, and just trying to spend some time with his beautiful little baby boy and his awesome wife. His wife is real nice too. I met her like two or three times. She's very, very nice also, and for them to allow Stephen to hang out with me for a little bit, I greatly appreciate it. So thank you. But yeah, so Stephen was saying like the Warriors and Cavaliers ain't a rivalry. Again, I'm gonna disagree, man, because like, come on, man, it's not just Draymond versus LeBron. It's not just Steph Curry versus LeBron or KD versus LeBron. And again, it's always a Warrior versus LeBron. You know what I'm saying? Well, I guess all right. It's Steph Curry versus Kyrie too. But it's the Warriors versus the Cavaliers, man. And the core of the Warriors, is Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson with the gravitas that KD comes with makes him a core of the team too, even though he's brand new. The core of the Cavaliers is Kyrie and LeBron James. To me, Kevin Love is a part of it only because he was a superstar in Minnesota, and they expected a lot from him in Cleveland. But I don't know. I think it's a two-man team with a very good third piece. I don't think it's comparable to the Heat team of LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. I think Chris Bosh was more of an equal to those to LeBron and Dwayne Wade than Kevin Love is to Kyrie and LeBron. But that's just my opinion. I have no memorable moments of watching the Timberwolves with Kevin Love. So they say he's a superstar. So I mean, like, again, I don't want to disrespect him. I don't mean no disrespect because the man he can do a lot more things than I can do on a basketball court. I can tell you that right now. But it's a team to team rivalry, and it's comparable to all the great rivalries in the past, because they're the top of the top of their respective conferences. They're the best. I don't know if I would want to see it a fourth time. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it a fourth time. But the third time is good because it's an odd number and it's 1-1. I don't know if I would want to see the trilogy if it was lopsided on one side or the other. What makes this one so great is because the team split the other two series. So that's what makes this one great. And I think this one is going to be an all-time classic. And those teams are rivals. And I can't see how anybody would disagree with that statement. Stephen was bringing up the notion that they have to have some sort of conflict. He didn't say like an all-out brawl and stuff like that, but they have to be some sort of animosity, some sort of chippiness, But I feel like it is kind of chippy. It's not too chippy. It can't be too chippy, but I feel like there is a little bit of chippiness because these guys know each other. I mean, these ain't like these ain't like there's new people on each teams, but the core know each other. So I think it is a rivalry. That goes to the power of LeBron James because LeBron James can have a rivalry with like the Spurs because they saw each other more than once, and with the Warriors because they saw each other more than once. It would have been the same thing if it was the Mavericks again. Could be the same thing because of the structure of the old Oklahoma City team. Because the old Oklahoma City team had had essentially a big three, and the Heat team had a big three, and so like just the optics of it made it a rivalry in a certain in a certain light. And Kevin Durant being many who would consider him to be the second greatest player right now, after LeBron James. So, but we'll see. The first game was a blowout, and we'll see how the next one goes. I don't think it's not going to be as bad, but like I said, I want the Warriors to win. So if it's 5, it'd be cool. If it's 4, it'd be cool. If it's 7, it'd be cool. But I do want more compelling games. I want the Warriors to win, but I want more compelling games too. Also, I think they're gonna win. I think they're gonna win one in Cleveland. I think the Cavaliers gonna win at least one in Cleveland. That's what I mean. And but yeah, and hockey is going on right now. Playoffs. Predators are down 2-0. So hopefully the Predators can get better. The series has moved to Nashville. So and I'm glad to say that I was there. I was able to watch the game, and so like it's not like some far off foreign land. I'm looking at this place like I remember that. That's kind of cool. But yeah, so hopefully they can do something. But the Penguins, they've been there before and all that stuff. I believe they're the defending champions, so they know what it takes and all that stuff. So and then they got a fan base who knows what it feels like. So they're ready for it. And but the fact that the Predators fan base don't know makes it more exciting. Because this is all new to them. This is like a surprise trip to amusement park or something. So. A surprise trip to like Disneyland or something like that, So we'll see. But yeah, back to what I was saying about LeBron James being underappreciated. I think he is underappreciated, and I feel like he needs to like the Cleveland Cavalier fans. They need to realize that he won't be able to play basketball forever, so they need to appreciate him while he's here, and while he's able to play for him. Because when LeBron James go away, maybe there's somebody that's gonna be better that'll play for Cleveland. But you never know. You don't, and that's an unknown. You don't know. So you gotta appreciate LeBron James while he's there. So he can. Gotta give people roses while they can smell them. And he's done a lot for Cleveland, and he was only there for 4 years, but he did a lot for Miami too. 2 extra championships, and he got Cleveland one, and. And that's something else, man. And the LeBron Jordan discussion, man. Why we have to have the discussion? Why we gotta say, this guy was better than this guy? I mean, why we care? They're both very great players, and they're both historic, iconic figures in pop culture and in sports. One guy has more rings than the other, and that's it. And I think I think they're both great. They both can be great, and they're both part of my life in in different ways. Because I appreciate LeBron James more as a basketball player because as an adult, I was able to watch him as a basketball player more. That's all I'm looking at. I'm not buying no LeBron James jersey. I'm not buying no if Space Jam gets remade and LeBron James is in it, I'm gonna watch it out of nostalgia that came from the first one. I'm not I'm not buying no LeBron James poster or anything like that. I'm a adult, so I appreciate LeBron James as a basketball player and as a pop icon more than I appreciated Michael Jordan, because when Michael Jordan was doing his thing, I was just a little kid. So Michael Jordan was a living cartoon. He was he was something. He was special. He was he was a superhero. He was like a comic book character, a cartoon character. I know he's a real person, but he was so big and so great and so amazing that it was like you couldn't really touch him, you know. But LeBron James was like every little kid's dream. No, excuse me. Did I say LeBron James? Michael Jordan was like every little kid's superhero. Like he was the basketball player all little kids looked up to. You know, back in the day when I was a little kid back in the '90s, man. So it's a different type. I have a different appreciation for LeBron than I have for Jordan, and but they're both great, and I do think like that Jordan also benefits from the fact that he was groundbreaking with his shoes. You know, with the whole marketing campaign. You know, that's propaganda. You know, and like the propaganda has a negative connotation, but I don't mean it negatively. Like, but it keeps the people in, you know, in it keeps it kept Michael Jordan in the public eye and in public consciousness. So people was always thinking about him and his greatness, because you got to be great to get these endorsements. You know, so Nike, the Jordan brand, Hanes, all that. It added, and Space Jam, all that added to the legacy of Michael Jordan. Again, I don't mean that in a negative way. I just think that his basketball play put him at a 9. You know, on a 1 to 10 scale, his basketball play put him at a 9. The marketing put him at like 11. You know, 10, 11. You know what I'm saying? So, it helped him greatly. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, man, basketball is rolling around, and we'll see, man. We'll see. And I think multiple championships will help Steph Curry's legacy, and I think Kevin Durant shouldn't. Kevin Durant, no one should ever take away Kevin Durant's championship should he win it. You know, like, oh, you got that's a fake champion. That's a fake championship because you just jumped into a team that was already made. You didn't really do nothing. You know, the team was good before you. You just made it a little better. I don't think that that applies, because first of all, Kevin Durant's arrival could have disrupted a good thing, because he's a star, you know, by himself. So him being there could have caused like a gravitational shift and taken away some of the chemistry that the Golden State Warriors had already made, you know. So I think that Kevin Durant's arrival isn't a bad thing, because he contributed and he didn't take away from what made Golden State good. And he didn't do anything wrong. He was a free agent. He decided to leave. He decided to go to a team where he could win easier. And like Dan Le Batard says, like, why everybody in the world wants to get paid to do something easy, you know. Like, whatever job you have, you know, it would be greater if your job, if you got paid more and it was easier for you, you know. And I agree with that. Like, we take pride in our work, and you want to accomplish something, but you don't necessarily want to struggle either, right? You know, you want to accomplish something, and I don't know, but there is fulfillment in overcoming obstacles. So, and he mentioned that too, but we're all trying to make our jobs easier. You know, not trying to cut corners or anything like that, but trying to make our jobs easier and still achieve whatever it is we're trying to achieve, you know, what our goals are and stuff like that. And Kevin Durant is just, you know, he just made his job a little easier, that's all. But he still has to be a part, because he could be, like I was saying in my previous point, he could have been a liability. He could have been something that they had to overcome. Like, man, we got this guy in here. We thought he was going to help us out. He ain't doing nothing but hurting us. He could have hurt them, but he didn't. You know, he helped them, and now he's in. And I'm glad, man. I like Kevin Durant. I hope that he gets a championship. You know, there's a bunch of players I like, and I hope that they get championships. You know, I hope James Harden gets a championship. I hope Russell Westbrook gets a championship. Kawhi already got one. I hope Anthony Davis gets a championship, preferably with New Orleans. Hopefully, you know, that'd be cool. That'd be real cool, man. Bringing a NBA championship to New Orleans, because we already got a NFL championship, you know, a Super Bowl championship, you know, just to clarify. But that'd be kind of cool to get one in the two sports that we have down here, and but. You know, and there's a bunch of players, because you know, you just like players, you know, you just like players, you know. So it'd be kind of cool if some players got championships, you know. I was never a Carmelo Anthony fan, so, like, I mean, but it'd be cool if he got one just out of his legacy, but he's a great player and he don't need a championship. He's gonna be like, he's gonna be like Barkley, like Charles Barkley. There's nobody I don't think there's anybody who could tell you that Charles Barkley wasn't a good player. He just didn't get a championship. They were just, better teams. That's just all it is. ESPN had like their 100 most famous athletes in the world, and I'm gonna talk about that in some more detail in my radio show. But it was interesting that no hockey players and no baseball players was on there. Now this is the 100 most famous athletes in the world, not in America, not in North America, but the whole world. So there's like cricket players. There's I think one of the guys was a badminton player. And they, in order to find and to determine the 100 most famous athletes in America, the 100 most famous athletes in the world, they looked at their social media presence, endorsement deals, and stuff like that. And not one of the 100 was a baseball player, and not one was a hockey player. And I don't know. Hockey is interesting because there's a whole country that favors hockey more than the other sports. Football players are bigger stars because they're promoted a lot more. Even though they have, even though it's hard to see them while they're doing their thing, it's hard to see them because there's so many people on the field at one time, and they have helmets and face masks, so you don't really get to see them as much. But their marketing campaigns are big, are large, and they stretch across the world. Baseball players, there's a lot of them. That's one thing that hurts them, because basketball players, there's only 15 players on a team around there, and the stars play the most, so you see them, and they're not, and their faces aren't covered up by any helmet or face mask or anything like that, so you get to see them clearly, and it's in the camera, and camera shots are tight and focus on their faces and stuff like that, so you get to see them better. Baseball players, you get to see their faces, but they suffer from the fact that there's a lot of them, and baseball is boring, and it's not registering with the younger people. It's just not registering with younger people, and they're not going with it. They're not going for it. So and I guess I don't know. Like MLB doesn't do a good enough job of marketing their stars. Like their stars who get endorsement deals and stuff like that. I've seen a few commercials. I've seen a few commercials with a couple of the baseball players, but I didn't know him at the time. Like I'm like, this guy is obviously a celebrity. He's this person. Like I remember seeing, I think it was Dexter Fowler, and he's a baseball player. And I think he plays for the Cardinals, I think, and he was on there, and he did a commercial, and I'm like, this guy is obviously a celebrity, but I don't recognize him from a TV show, and I don't recognize him from a movie. He ain't a rapper, so he has to be an athlete. He's not a musician. He has to be an athlete, but from where? Is he a football player from a team that I don't really care about, or what? Is it like the MLB doesn't do a good enough job to market their stars, so that's why there's of the 100 most famous athletes in the world, none of them are baseball players. But because baseball goes towards a demographic that is older and that's not interested in Beats by Dre headphones and stuff like that. So who knows, man? But. And I really don't know what they could do to make it better. Just keep putting them out there. Keep making your stars bigger, I don't know. Just baseball by nature, like there's only so much you can do to make baseball by nature more appealing to young people. Young people want their entertainment and their sports faster. What can you do with a game that doesn't have a clock? It's determined by innings, and like, what can you do? You can only speed it up so much, So, but I respect baseball because it's one of the 4 major sports that we have in America, and they call it a pastime, America's pastime, even though I sincerely disagree. And just in my personal opinion, it's football, basketball, hockey than baseball for me. And I wonder if my opinion is shared by the people by the rest of America, but we'll see. Like I said, I respect baseball because it's one of the four major sports, so I'm glad that it is there, and and when the World Series comes around, I might take a look at it, but it just doesn't catch my interest. It's just not my thing. I would like to go to a baseball game in person though. I think those are fun, because you're with your people, you're in your nice warm weather. Get a snack from the concessions, and you're ready to roll. I done rambled long enough, and I thank Steven for being a part of the show. And he's a TV anchor in Kansas City, so shout out to Steven for taking the time to be a part of my show. Again, thanks to his lovely family for letting them rock out with me. I appreciate it. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter, GrasshopperGP, Instagram, GrasshopperGP, both of which spelled normally, no special characters, numbers, emojis, underscores, anything crazy like that. GrasshopperGP, Instagram, and Twitter. Send me an email at GrasshopperGP@yahoo.com for any types of sponsorships, advertisements, questions, comments, all that good stuff. GrasshopperGP@yahoo.com is a place to do it. You are listening to this on GrasshopperGP Official. That's Grasshopper with 3 S's, because when I made the account, I couldn't spell. GrasshopperGP Official with 3 S's is the YouTube account. Thanks again for rocking with your boy on the Aqua Method Podcast. Y'all be good.